showtime.
It's time for that radio show everyone loves.
Do not attempt to change the station. Just listen, and we'll keep broadcasting.
It's time to begin the show.
103.9 LI News Radio presents Your Island, the very best in talk radio, with your host, Tom Schiliro.
And once again, welcome back. Do you believe it? It is Friday. This segment of our program being brought to you by the Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association. The PBA serves to support law enforcement, participate in special events and programs, all designed to help and protect our community. They care about you and keeping us all safe. From the anti-drinking and driving campaigns, protecting our children's education on the Megan's Law. PBA promotes a great relationship between the police and the people it wants to serve. Suffolk County is one of the safest counties in the country, and the PBA takes pride and strong belief in our security. They have honored our fallen heroes and contribute greatly to our suburban way of life. Need to know more? Go right to the website, www.suffolkcountypba.org. Noel DiGirolamo, president. Got a good show today, obviously, every other week. I'm going to call her Suffolk County's legislator. Not just the 6th legislative district. She is Suffolk County's legislator, and that's Sarah Anker I'm speaking about. She's in the studio talking about some of the things, actually some good news, and we'll be talking about that. And in the second hour, I've got the United States Service Dogs. That's a very, very interesting organization. They're going to be talking about some of the great things that they do. And just a couple of news stories that are up and about. You know, a sad story, a stupid story, why this stuff happens, and you've heard me speak quite a bit about Lieutenant Michael Murphy, just a true American hero that hailed from Long Island, from Patchogue, Long Island. A wonderful memorial was built for him over at the Lieutenant Michael P. Murphy Memorial Park in Lake Ronkonkoma. Well, do you believe it, folks? It was vandalized. They took this beautiful memorial of him and etching of him and what he represented in terms of the best in our military. And somebody saw fit, or a group of people saw fit, to damage it. I mean, it's just beyond the belief of our conception when stuff like that happens. So I just wanted to make that mention, that if you're out there and you did this, turn yourself in, make amends, and contribute to the rebuilding of it, and tell people that you're sorry. And then maybe you can go on with the rest of your life knowing that you did the right thing, as opposed to have this hanging over you on how evil you are to do something like this. This was a true American hero, gave us the freedoms and rights that we have in this great country, and I just wanted to bring that out. It's just terrible that happened. I was very saddened when I saw it, and I know a lot of people in the social media posted on it, and just almost couldn't believe it. Now, Sarah Anker, 6th Legislative District, Suffolk County Legislator, in the studio. Sarah, when you see things like that, how does that make you? And you, I always refer to this, but you're a military gal. I mean, you grew up in
I was there. I worked for the Brian Foley administration years back when they actually created this this park. Oh. They created it, and I was there, and I was part of the public relations communications department, and it is just, it's heartbreaking to understand why pick on this amazing hero that has helped so many people. I mean, I'm thinking the people that might have created this horrible, I guess they destroyed the monument.
There was a round plaque to him. It was just so beautifully done. Mm-hmm. I know a lot went into it, and just smashed it. They just absolutely smashed it.
I don't think that person or those people were in their right minds. Right. They were either probably mentally ill, they were on drugs. There had to have been something, but it is just so disgraceful to do that. And it's a park that's enjoyed by everyone. Right. It's open to the public. Yeah.
Brian, did Dan Panico call in? But he hung up. Dan Panico is a...
He did call in.
Yeah, Brookhaven.
But he was going to say that an arrest was made.
Oh, he was? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But they were a juvenile, so they can't release any information. He did say they were rather younger.
All right, so that's Dan Panico, Brookhaven council person from the 6th Council District. I want to thank Dan for calling in. If you still have time, Dan, we'll take your call. As always, 631-451-1039. Dan Panico, one of Brookhaven's finest over there.
Yeah, and if these were kids, what, did they think this was funny? What is the reason behind this act? And I think this is why we need to make sure that in schools, our kids understand what our veterans are doing. And I know we have some wonderful programs uniforms in the Rocky Point School District and throughout my district, and they bring veterans in to talk to the kids, and so the kids can understand what true life heroes actually are, not these action figures and the Marvel folks, that they're brought up on through the movies and made, and above and beyond what humans can do. Our military are humans, and they're heroes, and they do so much more for us.
All right, let's take, I think Dan did call back. Dan Panico, councilperson of 6th Council District. Dan, thanks for calling in. What's going on? They got some people there?
So they did. I just left a press conference. The supervisor was there, Congressman Zeldin, many other elected officials, Mr. and Mrs. Murphy were there. They spoke. The police, Suffolk County Police, do a great job for this county. Arrested a 14-year-old last night about 3 o'clock in the morning, actually early this morning.
Wow.
A 14-year-old who smashed the memorial, and it was a terrible act, a heinous act, but what came out of it, when you came to that park this morning, outpouring of support is really the silver lining on this dark act. Everyone has called in and flooded 451 town from all across this country offering to pay. In fact, the governor of the state of New York, Andrew Cuomo, has offered, and we have accepted, he's going to pay for the monument.
Nice.
We've asked everyone else to donate to the Murphy Foundation, Lieutenant Michael Murphy Foundation, to help veterans. If there is a silver lining, I think that.
And that is Dan. You're right. Did the 14-year-old, was he acting alone, or was it just a youthful exuberance by a bunch of kids? Did any clarity on that?
No, we're not sure how many people were involved right now. The police would have a better handle on that. But he was arrested, and as the Murphy parents spoke today, they didn't speak out of anger. They hope that this 14-year-old will understand the gravity of his actions and the fact that this is not a monument just to their son, but to this country.
To this country,
and
yes.
A representation of everything that's right in this country.
Yeah, good point.
And hopefully other people, young people, will realize there's not only consequences for their actions, but also how important our veterans are in securing our freedom. So that was really the message that came from the press conference today.
Terrific. And, Dan, again, thanks for taking time out from your busy schedule to give us an update. Once again, Councilman Brookhaven Town, Dan Panico. Dan, you have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too, Tom. Thanks.
Okay, appreciate it.
And I wanted to mention, too, Michael Murphy was a Navy SEAL. And we're hearing so much about our Navy SEALs, talking about heroes and people that go above and beyond what's considered the norm. I mean, and the kids in Thailand, the one Navy SEAL that passed away, and how they were very appreciative of literally his life's sacrifice. It just makes you understand when these terrible things happen, how good people can be.
Right. Okay, so in any event, the good news is rails to trails.
Oh, speaking of good.
And we do have a person on the line, but we'll let you introduce it. Then we'll go to, I think it's Martin Buckman.
Right.
And wanted to speak a little bit about rails to trails. So what's going on?
So
is it yes or no? Come on, Sarah.
It's a yes. It's a yes. So far, I'd say we're about 95% on the road, literally on the rails to trails to succeeding with this project. This project, it's a 10-mile recreational path. It runs from Mount Sinai to Wading River along the LIPA right-of-way, which parallels Route 25A. It provides a place for people to ride their bikes, to walk, to jog, to run, push the baby carriages, maybe do some marathons and some fundraising. It's going to be such an asset to my legislative district. I am so excited about this. And there was an issue. So we were about to lose $8.82 million in federal funds. Now, again, this is it's a $10 million federally funded project. In other words, if we didn't take this money here in Suffolk County, any other state in the nation could take this. Right. And it's only for a recreational path. It's to encourage, safety, because that's my number one issue here in my district. I have two of the most dangerous roads in the state, Route 25A and Route 25, running right through the heart of my district. And with that, we've had, unfortunately, fatalities, people trying to ride their bikes, jog along the road. And with the idea of a recreational path, people now have an alternative to run and to recreate rather than on 25 and 25A. So we were able to work with the legislative colleagues because there were some issues going back and forth. This trail also will help with the economic sustainability in my district. My district has no commercial, no industrial businesses to help with our very, very high tax base. We have some of the highest property taxes in the country. And so what I'm looking to do is bring in, tourism. Let them spend their money and to help our tax base, and then they can go home.
Right, exactly.
And
we're talking about. Let's see what Martin has to say.
So we had a lot of
Martin's
supporters.
Martin's been
hundreds
on online. Well, we're I want to talk about that because I'm excited about it myself. Martin Buckman, you are on the line, sir. On the air.
Hey, how you doing? I'm waiting patiently.
Yes, I know you were waiting. We thank you for that, sir.
Many years for the trail.
Oh,
so
okay.
Waiting on the phone is no small.
All right.
It's nothing.
Yeah. Well, hey, Martin.
Trail,
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for coming out to the General Legislature meeting on Tuesday. You and your friends from the bike clubs and from all over Suffolk County.
This is great.
They basically spoke their truth, and they provided support for this resolution to move forward with this trail. And this trail has not been easy to move forward. I was given an article from 1977 from the local newspaper talking about, this would be a great idea. But hey, Martin, tell me what your thoughts about Rails to Trails.
Rails to Trails is an organization I've belonged to for 25 years, and it's trying to turn abandoned railroad tracks into bicycle trails. And it's a classic public works program, meaning that private industry would never do this. You use federal money to provide jobs, building the jobs that are going to come to build this trail are good jobs. And then the economic stimulation that comes from building the trail lasts for generations. And it builds something that would never exist, by a private industry. I've been on rail trails all over New York State. There's a great one in Westchester County that goes all the way from the Bronx to Putnam.
Wow.
There's a rail trail across the Hudson now called the Walkway Over the Hudson that took an abandoned railway bridge and built a trail.
Nice.
And the thing with these rail trails is that they become a tourist attraction in and of themselves. People come just to go on the trail. So I'm thinking, my wife and I, we run the Stony Brookside Bed and Bike Inn. It's a bed and breakfast dedicated to cycle tourism.
Wow.
And we get many visitors from Europe, and they're a little taken aback by having to compete with the cars, even though I give them routes on the least traveled roads. So we have the Suffolk Greenway here that runs 3 miles, and when this rail trail is completed, we'll be able to send people on a round trip to Wading River, where they're only going to have that small stretch, in Port Jeff Station, where they're going to have to compete with cars.
Wow.
So I'm thinking that this will become a tourist attraction. People from Manhattan and Brooklyn will take the train out, and they'll bring their bikes on the train, or people from Connecticut will take the ferry and bring their bikes, because my wife and I, we go to Connecticut up with the ferry and ride the rail trails in Connecticut. So that being on a rail trail is an absolutely blissful experience. Even if you're just a few yards away from a highway, usually the greenery from the trail obscures whatever other traffic or obstacles there are, and you feel like you're in your own world.
Martin, you're saying something. I'm picturing it. I have a part-time residence in Florida, and there's a Rails to Trails there. It's 42 miles long. It's not even a stone's throw from my place, and I take the bicycle on there, and it is magnificent. It is magnificent. I'm sorry, Martin?
Where in?
It goes all the way from that Floral City area, north of Tampa, all the way down. It's 42 miles long through Inverness. It is absolutely magnificent. Magnificent.
We've been on it.
You have? Okay.
Section that runs from Sarasota to Venice.
Okay, yes.
And every winter we do something called Bike Florida, which is like a week-long bike jamboree. And Florida has done a really good job with building trails.
And they have water fountains along the way, park benches along the way, bathrooms along the way.
Yeah, it becomes a linear park. And the thing I always like to tell people is I've never, ever seen someone in a bad mood on a rail trail.
That's so true. And the fact it's exciting we're getting one here.
And yes. And it's been, I've been in the office for 7 years. And I know, Martin, we've been very patient as this project has evolved, because that's what has happened. When I first got in office 7 years ago, the money was going to be moved out of New York State. It had been sitting for probably 10 years or whatever. They had the money there, but they couldn't get an agreement going. The previous county executive, Steve Levy, was not supportive of it, but Steve Malone got in, and I checked him off. The community had a very difficult time with this, but as we discussed it more and we talked about privacy fences, we even talked about maybe moving the trail off the right of way. We had a lot of open discussions, and the community eventually saw that it was a very positive project that would benefit, especially Rocky Point.
Go ahead, Martin.
Go ahead.
I understand sometimes people have a reflexive reaction about that, but people who bought homes along that easement from LIPA and the railway, that's been a public use easement since 1939. So it's not possible that they bought that home without knowing that something could be done with that area. And, they say not in my backyard. We used to live literally the Suffolk Greenway was built next to our backyard. And for us, it's like, please, in my backyard.
Yeah.
And if people are afraid of some sort of consequence along the trail, Elise and I say, my wife and I say, sell us your house.
Well, that's it.
No, I'm not kidding, because the property values along that trail are going to increase.
You would think so.
Goes up. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's what happened in Florida.
Yeah.
That's what happened in Florida.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay.
And, we've been waiting patiently for years and years. And I guess at the meeting the other day, I started to lose my patience, because I felt that we were so close, and that to have this being held hostage to some sort of political shenanigans. So I'm glad that when it was a when I called the legislators, I challenged them to say, if it's a standalone vote, are you going to vote for it? Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that they came around and did the right thing.
Wonderful. Yeah, me too. And what was nice, I noticed in Newsday they did a nice story on it a couple days ago. Gordon Howard, he is an 80-year-old bike rider. Yeah. He spoke, and he looks like maybe 50, 60 years old.
Riding bikes, somebody said once asked me, said, what's the best way to stay in shape? I said, well, as far as I'm concerned, you ever see those bike riders on the side of the road? And some of them may be 70, 60, 70, 80 years old. I said they were in phenomenal shape, so they must have the right answer.
Yeah.
That's all I could say.
And this
biking is a no impact. It's not like running. There's no impact on your joints, and it's something that granted, we all slow down as we get older a little bit, but it's something that you can do, and it's also something where in America people don't do enough cycle tourism. There's lots of bike clubs that imitate racing and things like that. But I think this will, because there's so many beautiful beaches and parks and places to visit along the proposed trail, this will bring tourism. I guarantee it. People will come from the city and decide, I'm not going to drive all the way out to Greenport or drive all the way out to the Hamptons. They'll come and ride their bikes on this trail and go to the beaches along Wading River.
Terrific.
Right,
right. And these are the type of people you want. It's not gonna. It's gonna bring a good element. It's gonna bring people who spend. Cyclists, they get hungry and they get thirsty, and they're going to stop it.
And you're right, Mark. And that's what we need. I see William Floyd as the gateway to the North Fork. And instead of people just going to the wine country and the farms heading out east, they can take a little trip to Rocky Point or Shoreham. Now, Shoreham, there's the Tesla Science Museum, and I was recently there last week. But they are partnering with us. They will provide restrooms and also parking. But they're one of many locations where you can park and you can enter into the Rails to Trails, because where is a place that you can take your child to ride their bike?
Exactly. We're backing up to a commercial break. I want to thank Martin. Martin, you've been quite informative,
thank you.
And I guess I could say congratulations to you. I mean, I know this is something you guys wanted, and it looks like it's coming to fruition when we think about it.
I can't wait to see shovels in the ground.
2019. 2020, we're going to be cutting that ribbon. I'm hoping.
Martin. Martin Buckman, thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
How long will it take actually to produce the whole thing? I mean,
at
to
least a year. So the spring of 2019, we're hoping to get a shovel in the ground. By 2020, if things go on as planned, we should be able to get on a bike and start riding.
I think Martin should be the first one across the finish line.
When
they open a bridge, they have somebody of substance go over the bridge first.
Yeah.
I nominate Martin Buckman. This the guy said he's been. So Martin, if you're still listening, you should be the first one to go on the on the bike path. We're going to take a short break, talking about a success story, Rails to Trails, and something that Sarah Anker, Suffolk County Legislator, actually shepherded through. And again, congratulations to you also on that. And we'll take up some other county issues when we get back. I'm your host, Tom Schiliro, and I'm here at 631-451-1039. Always taking your phone calls. We'll be right back.
The following radio show is live, except for the announcement you're hearing right now.
Welcome back to Your Island Live with your host, Tom Schiliro, on 103.9 LI News Radio.
And once again, welcome back as we're streaming right along now in the studio. Sarah Anker, Suffolk County Legislator, talking about one of the success stories with the Rails to Trails. And I know we got a call from, I think it was Bill Selsky, did I get the name right? President of the Long Island Bike Club. Bill, if you're still listening, call back. We just want to hear what the folks have to say about this and the amount of public support that it does have. And I could tell you this, I live in Manorville, and you see these persons on these very fancy bicycles. I mean, real professional bikers, not the ones that drive these cheap bikes like I do. But and they're out there every single day, and even in the wintertime, just out there riding, and they're all in great shape. So I guess if you're looking for a way to stay in shape, that's got to be it, because those folks are in great shape.
Yeah.
So they're doing this mileage on these bicycles, and now that this trail is going to exist, it's really gives them an outlet and a venue to do that. So I think, bravo to Suffolk County Legislature.
Well, thank you. And you know what? I'm just into, providing places for people to go and recreate, especially with their kids. I worked on the Heritage Park in Mount Sinai. That was probably well over 17 years ago, because my daughter is soon to be 18. And I had 3 kids at the time. I'd bring them with me. We'd work with the Civic Association. That was the first time I went in front of government officials, and it was very intimidating. We went to the town, we went to the county. I think state was involved. Just about every level of government. And it really taught me both sides of getting things done, in government and outside of government. And I want to encourage folks, when you want to speak to your elected officials, call them up.
Yes.
They work for you.
That's right.
That's
and I think
they're
a lot
public
of people
servants.
forget that. I know we get a lot of callers that are just disgusted with elected officials. And, again, it's a very, very tough image. A person like yourself who really fits the bill on what a public official and what a public servant's all about. Unfortunately, that gets lost in all the headlines.
It does. And we are supposed to help every constituent that we have. And I try, I make no guarantees I can resolve every problem, but we certainly try. I had someone come up to me yesterday, and she said, Sarah, thank you so much for getting us in touch with Suffolk County's Veteran Services. Her husband passed away. He was in the military, and she had not received any benefits. I said, you need to meet with this person, and sure enough, she's working through the situation. But that's one very small example of so many issues that people have. The biggest one, potholes in the road.
Yeah, that's
we get those all the time.
Right. Yep. And that's usually a town concern. 631-451-1039. We got our good friend Nelson over there in Miller Place. Nelson, how are you, sir?
Hey, Nelson.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
It's always a benefit when you can take that space and you can convert it to something to use for the people.
Yeah.
And know that it's not going to be overdeveloped or anything like
now,
that.
Now, Nelson, you and Marion got bicycles? Are you going to be going on the trail?
You know what? We were talking about that the other day. I miss riding my bicycle, and I'm afraid to ride it on Long Island because it's really, like I remember when I was a kid, you could ride your bike all over the place and not really worry as much. Mm-hmm. But we've been on that Suffolk Trail once, and now that this is here, I'll probably take my bike to the shop.
Is it far from Miller Place where Nelson is?
It's in Miller Place.
It's in Miller Place.
Right.
Oh, Nelson's
downtown,
there. You built this thing for Nelson.
I did. Built the Nelson Trail.
I can walk to it from my house.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And that's what this trail was supposed to do. Right in the middle of where people can get to it, away from these very, very dangerous highways, and providing a place for people to go. And again, especially our kids.
Yeah, I used to bike my daughter down to North Country Road School. I used to put her on the bike in the morning, bike her down there. Mm-hmm. But then the roads just became so crowded, and the drivers became so crazy.
Yeah.
You don't want to take your bicycle out.
Yeah, that's all true.
You're going to get hit. But now the thing that we need to work on is a drive-in movie.
Wow.
The drive-in movie.
Oh, I want that. I want to drive. I love drive-in movies back in the day.
Yeah.
We don't have. Why don't we have? You know why? I'm going to tell you why we don't have one. Because
the land.
The land. You could make more. A private person who owns a tract of land is not going to build a drive-in movie. Yeah. They're going to build condos.
The taxes on that land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now it's just sitting there. And now what we're talking about, there's a piece of property in Rocky Point. It was the old drive-in movie. What they wanted to do, the developer wanted to make a Target, because that was going to be a Target. Yeah. The town of Brookhaven didn't approve it. So it's basically just been sitting there for a decade.
We don't need another box store or anything like that. We need things where people can take their families. We need to encourage people to come back to Long Island and start your families here, because a lot of, they say that our younger generation is leaving. They're leaving because we don't have those things. I've been to driving movies in South Carolina, West Virginia, and all over, and it's always the kids out in their pajamas, and it's always families there, and it's good. I know it's tough here in the winter and everything else, but it can be sustained if you bring out all the costs of living down on Long Island.
Yeah, right. And what's unique about our district, from Mount Sinai to Wading River, is that we have so many mom and pop shops, and we need to support them because, Amazon and all these online stores are taking away the businesses, and they're all struggling to survive. And a lot of these shops are along the rails to trails. So we need to create an environment where people will want to go to that location. And that's what I'm trying to do with my district. Again, there's the Tesla Museum, the RCA property, a lot to do.
Bill Selski on the phone from the Long Island Bike Club. Nelson, finish up, Nelson, real quick.
The mom and pop shops, they put the teenagers to work, they put locals to work. It's always a nice thing, yeah. But when you have these big box stores, now for a lot of them to fill out an application, you have to go online, and they grade you on the questions that you answer. They don't even take a look at you, so they miss that diamond in the rough.
Okay. Yeah. Nelson, thanks for the phone call. I want to go to some other calls.
Thank you, Nelson.
Again, our number is 631-451-1039. Bill Selski, president of Long Island Bike Club. Just please wait one more minute. We've got Tom Schiliro, Suffolk County Legislator. Tom Schiliro on the phone. Tom, what are you going to say?
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, Tom. I'm good. Thanks.
Good. And I just want to call in and publicly thank Sarah for her hard work on the Rails to Trail. I know it's not in my district, but you know what? The people in my district are going to enjoy it. And also we should thank Congressman Zeldin.
Oh, sure.
He was very instrumental in getting us the vast majority of the money for the project. So, it's good politics, good people working together for the good of their community.
And Tom, we got to get you on a bicycle now, Tom. We're going to get you on a bicycle.
My bicycle days and my golf days are over now. Okay. They're over.
A little stroll.
Yeah, I think Tom could do it. I saw him lately. He's looking good. Looking svelte. He's looking good.
A little tricycle.
A tricycle.
You know what, Tom? I wanted to bring up something else. This morning, I don't know if you heard about it. It might have been in the news. About the vandalism of the Lieutenant Michael Murphy,
we did talk about it.
Memorial.
Right. Dan Panicle called in and did report that there was a press conference and that they did arrest a 14-year-old, a juvenile.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what got me was the outpouring of the community.
Oh, amazing.
I mean, there was so many people there, and and I feel sorry for the young man and the family, the Murphy family.
Yes.
Was really nice about the whole thing. They want to meet with the young man and maybe educate him about what Michael was all about and what patriotism is. And and a big shout out to the Suffolk County Police.
Yeah.
A great
Phenomenal job.
think the arrest was made before 1 o'clock in the morning. You know? So
exactly.
It was a great, great party. You know, and again, we've got such wonderful lifestyle here. Wonderful police, wonderful veterans, and now we've got a great rails to trail where we can go and enjoy the outdoors or something. So again, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Tom.
You have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Suffolk County Legislator Tom Moratori calling on.
Well, bipartisan, by the way. You know, we're working together.
Bill Selsky, I know we've been keeping him on hold, President, Long Island Bike Club. Bill, what do you think about this project?
Hey, Bill.
Bill, you're on the air.
Is he there?
Did we lose Bill again?
No, he should still be there. But so wasn't that nice though, that bipartisan shout out? And,
yeah.
You know,
well, I think that's the way government should work. See, I guess sometimes for people on the inside, it surprises you. But I think those of us who are out there, we demand nothing less than that. Okay, that when we elect Democrats and we elect Republicans and we put them in a governing body, whether it's a Congress or a legislature, you expect them to work together for the good of the people. That's a little naive statement I'm making right now because it doesn't really happen that way, but we just witnessed it.
Right.
We just witnessed it.
And you know, my technique is I put blinders on. You know, we're horse people.
Yeah.
So I put my blinders on, I see the goal at the end, and I just go right to it. And I mentioned the three components, how the Rails to Trails was moved forward. It was support from the county executive, Steve Ballone. It was the support from the community, the majority. There's still people that are concerned, and we're working on a fund for privacy fences and shrubbery to help those with concerns. But the third component was LIPA. LIPA was generous enough to allow us to move forward with this project, and we accepted, the county accepted the liability, and that basically was an agreement that we have, and so far so good. We're in good shape.
Tom did mention it that the bulk of it is coming from federal funds. Do we have Bill back on, Brian? I think we do.
Yeah.
Is that Bill? Okay. Bill, we apologize. Bill Selsky, President, Long Island Bike Club. Thanks for being so patient. Bill, you're on the air. What do you think about Rails to Trails?
I think it's wonderful. I think we should have more. I congratulate the legislator for getting this through.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Long Island could use many more Rails to Trails. Most of the people on Long Island Bicycle Club will ride Rails to Trails. We also ride throughout the roads, less traffic as we can find them throughout Long Island. But obviously, roads that don't have any traffic on them are much safer.
Yes.
So
I see you guys a lot. I'm in Manorville, and I see you guys all, like on North Street, Wading River Road. Just everybody looks like they're having a lot of fun, and there's not that much traffic there. So you guys are really in a safe environment over there. And
I mean, we look for roads that will take us out of traffic as much as possible on Long Island, and we do have fun. It is something that we look forward to. It's a great way to both see areas of Long Island in ways that you wouldn't see it otherwise, and to exercise as well. So it's actually a great thing to do. But Rails to Trails is something I think that will encourage people who might not go out because they are afraid of riding on regular roads. And they'll get exercise, they'll get to see things, and everybody will be happier. I think it's a great thing.
Oh, thank you. And what's great about the Rails to Trails in my district is that hopefully it will connect to the Greenway Trail in Setauket and Stony Brook, and it will, and maybe a possibility, we can just send it all the way out east into Greenport, like really extend it.
Nice,
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Again, this is a goal maybe down the road.
Environmentally safe. We're not using carbon-based fuels and all that other stuff. It's really nice. I mean, to me, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
So, but Bill, thank you so much for your
wonderful
support. Yeah. And again, how many folks do you think that ride the bikes on Long Island? What's your guess?
Oh, God. Well, and with bicycle clubs alone, you're probably talking like maybe 10,000 people all in all.
Big number.
I would say people just doing bikes. I mean, there are kids and adults, so I would say it could be like 50 to at least 50,000.
Wow.
I would say at least that much.
Right, and they all need to eat lunch, and they all need to grab a beverage, perhaps, or something. So this is what I'm hoping is that when the folks get on the trail, they can buy what's along the trail, because again, the merchants are in between the dangerous highway and the trail itself. And
but I'm sure people like Bill and the Long Island Bike Club, I mean, these are our real professionals when it comes down to riding. I got a chance to talk to some of the folks, I guess like Bill, and I was surprised at the equipment, the bicycle itself, what those things are worth.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I keep thinking of Walmart.
Well, it becomes kind of an expensive hobby. If you really
I could see that.
The bikes are expensive and all the equipment as well. But yes, one thing that the merchants might like is cyclists like to eat and drink.
Well, you guys are burning all the calories. You're all so thin. I can't stand it. I should join one. I should get thin. I should get thin.
Tom is contemplating while you're talking, Bill. He's like,
you guys are always in the
join.
best shape. I mean, I watch you guys. Come on, I live in Manaville. You're passing my house every 20 minutes, and I'm saying there's not one person out of shape on that bike, and some of them 20, 30, 40 strong. So they're doing something right. Bill, you're doing something right.
Well, we need that.
Good to hear.
Yeah, but we need that beginners club.
Yeah, for
the 101,
like myself and Tom Moratori, Legislator Moratori. You heard what he had to say.
Sure,
said his days are over, and I could agree with that. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
Well, I think Rails to Trails is a good way of encouraging that, and I think more people will come out if those are available. More are available.
Right, and there will be more the really fast bike riders. They will stay on the main road though. That I just want to make that statement. The folks that just ride their bikes, and even the people that just like to walk slowly, they're welcome, and they go around the slower people, and but the really fast bike riders will probably go on the road, which again in itself, it's a little scary. And I give you guys credit. Just make sure you're safe. Always wear your helmet.
Yes,
absolutely.
Right, and the car drivers out there, just really be careful.
Right.
We talk about the motorcycle riders, but also the
bicycle
riders.
too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know when I pass them because I encounter them every day. I'm as careful as can be. Go around them, and you got to be careful, and just because they entitled to the road just like we are.
Right.
Everybody else is.
And right now, though, the path it's weedy. You get folks that probably should not be behind in that LIPA right away, behind those backyards of those houses. This project will clean things up. We're not planning to put lights in any way to infringe on the neighbors, but we will have park police patrolling it. It will be maintained by bike organizations because we're going to save taxpayer money. We're not going to go overboard or try to use county funds. I'm working with different organizations, and again, working with the Civic Association, Rocky Point, on funds for privacy, especially in those houses that are very, very close on that LIPA right away. So there's a lot of good things.
Once again, Bill Selsky, President of Long Island Bike Club. Bill, thanks for calling in. Very much
Bill.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank you.
Okay. Sure. Well, I'll tell you your segment here went fast today. Almost a few minutes left.
Yes, so
I do want to mention Tony Buccamuso. Let me just say, Tony worked for the 9/11 call center.
Yes.
Was a guest on this program. I can't remember when. He was here. We had a lot of fun. He was here with a couple of people from 911 when we do our Eye on Crime segment. And then maybe a month or two afterwards, I believe he had a heart attack and passed away.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that, saying, here's a man that I had just met, came into the studio, did a great show, enlightened people as to the...
Such a nice
absolutely.
person. Oh,
somebody I remembered.
Yes.
We don't always remember people that we meet in life. And he was here in the studio. He helped us out with our listeners and so on. And then he tragically passed away at a very young age. I believe he was only in his 40s or just turned 50. And so he was honored.
Absolutely. It was so at his funeral, I was there, and I walked out with his best friend, Dave Feister, and who's also on the Longwood School Board. And we talked about a memorial for Tony. And normally it's a road or some type of structure. So we were talking, and we thought of the call center, the 911 call center, which Tony was the supervisor of. Yes, and he was just so involved with the Shot Spotter. He helped create this program to locate where gunshots were coming from, to help our police locate where these crimes were taking place. Also, the SAFE hotline, the School Active Violence Emergency Hotline, was part of the 911 call center. So I worked with the county executive. We came up with legislation to name the 911 call center the Tony Buccamuso Center, and forever he will be there. His presence will be there. He not only was he such an amazing member of the Suffolk County employment. He was a police.
He worked for the police department.
26 years. He was 3 decades in the Coram Fire Department. And he was always at the civic events with the audio. He was a ham operator. He did, he was a communication specialist. And he used so much of his personal volunteer time helping other people. So I joined, the county executive, and Kim, his wife, Nicholas and James, his son, Mary, his mother, and his father, Anthony, to dedicate the building to Tony.
Just at such a young age. I can remember when he was on the program, we had a little fun because I had a little trouble pronouncing his last name.
Sure.
So it became a little bit of a joke on the air when we were there, but just a great guy. And
I want to mention, too, though, I know last year in honor of Tony, we held a summer concert over at the Coram substation. We're going to have another. Now, this isn't the summer concert series we have in Rocky Point. This is a different one. But coming up Monday, August the 13th, another couple of weeks away on a Monday, it starts at 7 p.m., and it's Southbound. It's the country music band. Outside, bring your blankets and your lawn chairs, some beverages, non-alcoholic, please, and to the Coram Fire Department substation. That's off of Pine Road and Route 112. Again, Monday, August the 13th. It starts at 7 p.m. So, if you're in the area, you want to listen to beautiful music. Since we're talking about the concert, can I mention a couple of more dates here?
Absolutely. We've got about a minute left.
About a minute left. Okay, so we have one coming up on Tuesday. We have Southbound again. So they're going to be here July 24th, 7 p.m. at St. Anthony's Church in Rocky Point. July 31st, again, 7 p.m. Swing Time. That's the big band, amazing band. And then our finale, of course, is Mike Del Judas Big Shot, August the 7th at 7 p.m. Rain date, August the 28th. I saw Michael on national news with Billy Joel when Bruce Springsteen came. Amazing. We have a celebrity in our neighborhood.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Yep. You'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll be talking about more of this. Once again, Suffolk County Legislator Sarah Anker, 6th Legislative District, one of our fine contributors here on our Midday Live program. I'm your host, Tom Schiliro. When we get back, very important topic, United States service dogs. When we get back, and everybody just stay with us. And our number is 631-451-1039. Always taking phone calls. We'll be right back.